I'll wait to see your golden smile, feel of 1,000 kisses. Oh, please stay a while. I'll reach up to hold your sunlit face.
Walking around the house looking at everything because we've got the house under contract, and so all of this stuff is going to be sold. All that stuff, all those decorations, everything is going to the auction house. All of these are family paintings, so they're obviously staying with us. All of this is going to be gone. Tables, chairs. This is where I do my job and make my videos. I'm going to really miss this view. It's nicer from the sunroom, but it's still just as pretty. I'm going to miss Big Al. But anyway, this week has just been a blur. I honestly can't even remember. I can't remember what videos I've made. I feel like I'm in a different world right now. Like I'm just like, oh. A couple of weeks ago, a week ago, we drove down to Pensacola and we looked at that Fountain Pajohilia, and it was a really nice boat. It's a 2011. At first sight, it looked really nice. It looked really good, but once you started videotaping, we've realized that it did have quite a few things that would need repairs. It wasn't clean at all, which really surprised me because I know for our house, anytime we had a showing, it was immaculate. This boat had obviously not been cleaned for a long time. And that shouldn't be the deciding factor for buying or not buying a boat, but in my opinion, it speaks to how the boat is treated by, how do I put this nicely? If you don't make an effort to keep the boat clean and tidy, especially when you know you're gonna be showing it to potential buyers, then it makes you wonder, what effort did you put into keeping up the more important costly stuff, like the engines and all of the equipment. I don't think it's called equipment. What do you call that? Like the water maker and the AC and options? Like in a car, they're called options. I don't know what they're called in a boat. But if you're not making much effort in one direction, then it tells me that maybe you're not making a huge effort in the other direction. We did find out that it was chartered by at least 2 different companies, been through at least 2 hurricanes, one of which, well, no, both. We actually got confirmation that there was damage from both. Long story short, it was too risky. I really, already as it is, everything breaks on a boat. We know we're gonna be constantly repairing things, constantly doing stuff. So we already know all of that. So anyway, we decided not to get the boat. I asked a lot of questions from people like Facebook sailing groups. We got so much advice and we're so grateful. Anyway, it was a stressful weekend because we went under contract for the boat at the same time. Literally like the day we were driving to Pensacola was the day that we signed the contract on this house with the buyers. So it was a rough 48 hours or so, but we survived it. And auction house is coming in about 2 weeks to remove all of this, and then the rest is going to be donated, and then final sweep through will be a company that I think it's a veteran-owned business, and they take all the rest of the stuff. Just anything that's left over, we're going to move into our little 2-bedroom condo for either a week or 6 months, who knows, until we find a boat.
I'll reach up to hold your sunlit face.
So it's been a couple of months now since your trip on the Swiss Cat crewing, and it was your first crewing job. What are your recollections from that trip?
We picked up the boat in St. Augustine from a mooring ball, and then we went out, and right there, the little inlet into the Atlantic Ocean was very rough.
Because there was a storm passing through.
The storm had already passed, but it was just very rough right there because you've got all that water's coming to a little area, and it's just very rough. So we did not sail. We actually motored the whole way back. We left at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday or Monday and got there Charleston the next night around 11 o'clock. We motored the whole way there, and
You kind of have to motor when you're crewing on a delivery.
yes, because we wanted to get it there. We had 3 crew, and we had 2
A captain and 3 crew. 3 crew
captain
people?
and 2 crew.
2 crew. So there's 3 of you total.
Right. So we took turns at every 3 hours. I couldn't fall asleep that night, so I stayed up until 4 the next morning. And when we got to the inlet to Savannah,
Yeah.
we could see all the actual cargo ships out there. And there was over 17 to 21. just sitting there waiting to get in to take their stuff off, you know, their
Because with the COVID deal, whatever, they
yeah,
weren't
I
allowed
think
in.
so. It was smooth sailing pretty much. Once we got in there and started going, it was smooth. It was very smooth.
Against the stream of time we'll run, baby. We'll hold back this sun. When the sun
Well, sitting at the nav station outside. You don't see me. How about that? Is that a little better? Yeah, I'm just sitting at the nav station right now.
So you were motoring because the captain has to get the boat from point A to point B as fast as possible because the crew is paid by the hour and the captain's paid by the hour. You weren't paid.
Right, I wasn't.
You got great experience.
Right, so we didn't have any issues. There were a couple, that boat that we saw at night, that's what we were looking for pretty much, you know, other things that we would hit. At night, it was hard, you couldn't see debris. I'm sure we hit some stuff, but I never heard anything, but during the daytime you could. What was that?
So tell us a little bit about the cat, the condition, what was going on with it.
The cat was a 45-foot Swiss cat. It was a owner's version, and it had been hit by lightning. So there was a lot of stuff that wasn't working on the boat. Like you had to turn on the audio to turn on the stove. It was very weird.
Kind of like with cars when you turn the radio on and the windshield wipers turn on.
Right. My actual cabin was on the starboard aft.
Did you feel seasick at all at any point?
When we were actually going out, it was very rough. I noticed if I would look at the horizon, I would be okay. But as soon as I looked sideways, it got me. If I was sitting at the helm inside, I would look towards the bow. I wouldn't look towards the back.
Did you actually throw up at all?
I went out there and threw up a little, yeah.
What did you learn, or did the captain teach you anything? Travel the waterways, markers? Did he teach you about markers and stuff?
Yeah, we actually, if we were going to go out, we couldn't go past the helm position. If we were going to go towards the bow of the boat, we had to have our life jacket on and tethered. So we had.
And when you guys took turns on watch, were you by yourself, or was it you and another crew member?
I could have been by myself, but it was another crew member that was with me.
So depending on the experience level, you may have two people awake on watch at the same time.
Right.
If they're very, very experienced, then you could potentially be on watch by yourself while everybody else slept.
Right, we had 3-hour shifts, but what you're doing in that 3 hours, you're looking at, make sure there's no boats that we're going to hit. So you're constantly, every 15 minutes, that's what we're doing. Looking both sides of it was a catamaran, I'm looking down both sides. 5 knots. Container ships out here. 18. That's what I counted earlier. 7.8 knots. Here we are coming into port. Soon.
Since it had damage from lightning, do I remember correctly that it got actually hit more than once?
Yeah, I think it got hit more than once, so yeah.
It was short and sweet.
It was short and sweet. That your downtime was, you know, you could read a book. One of the crew members had his iPad. He had a couple movies on there.
So even though the boat got hit by lightning a couple of times, there was still power. You could still plug in.
Yeah, you can still charge your device.
So there was enough power for motor, well, I mean gas, whatever, for motoring. You still need power, don't you, to turn that engine on?
You do.
Cool. So that was your first gig, and because your video skills, you didn't really do a whole lot of description on your video.
Because I don't do it. Usually I don't do it. I guess that's something.
You're not a chatty Cathy.
I'm not.
All right.
Well, got holes drilled in it. Should be okay.